Time for Curry from half court. It's gone! He banks it in!
Gotta be kidding me.
He made one at the end of the first.
Hello, I'm your host, Lamar L.A. Smith, and welcome to another edition of Inside 380. Yes, today we had a couple topics. First, we have Super Bowl 50. Two, we have this thing called a historic NBA matchup. We're going to get more to that. Then we have the Australian Open in tennis. Now, the 380 Player of the Week candidates are as follows. You got Von Miller, sack machine. You have Steph Curry, who definitely likes to stir the pot. You got Cam Newton, a.k.a. Super Cam, who's taking the Panthers to the second Super Bowl. Then you have Gronk, who put up 8 catches, 144. Then you also have this guy named DeMarcus Cousins. Yes, DeMarcus Cousins. UK product, to say the least. Now, Super Bowl 50. Carolina versus the Denver Broncos. Carolina is 15-1, but add postseason 18-1. And since we're going to add postseason, obviously, you also have to add the fact that Denver is 14-4. So scratch that. Carolina 17-1, looking to be 18-1, and you had Denver, who was 14-4. Now, Denver at one point wasn't even about to make the playoffs. They had to win their last 2 games, barely won their division, barely got the number 1 seed, but in the game of inches, it was just enough yards left on that yardstick for them to make a play at it. Now, you also have to look at the fact that you have Carolina, who has Thomas Davis hurt. You have T.J. Ward and Stewart hurt as far as the safeties for the Denver Broncos. So, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. You got guys banged up. You got a lot of things that people speculate during this time of year, but it's the Super Bowl. Thomas Davis will be playing with the cast on his forearm. And at the end of the day, he would have missed his game for the world. I would have missed his game for the world. It's going to be a big show. The bigger picture is the Pats lost 2018. Offensive line's awful. I called it last week when I said Denver and Carolina going to make it to the Super Bowl. And we also need to remind ourselves that was my pick to begin with. I thought Denver, long as they had home field throughout the playoffs, most likely they were going to make it there. Also, Carolina was my pick to make it to the Super Bowl since, let me see, their win streak got to 8 or 9. So it's been a long time coming for both of these teams. Now, everyone will talk about, this is the year of the Cam. Well, I also think this may be the year of the Manning. This is a.k.a. his last rodeo, speculation to say it. And what better way to go out than on top? John Elway did it. Ray Lewis did it. Jerome Bettis, a.k.a. The Bus, did it. And that boy with the gleaming gap in his mouth, Michael Strahan, also did it. All-time great defensive end. Now, I'm going to get more into the Super Bowl next week because I still need a week to think about my pick. But I'm torn physically. I would love to see Cam win it. He deserves it. Great year. He's done it with a great defense and playmaking by himself with a bunch of receivers really no one knows. Then you have Peyton Manning, the sheriff, on his last time at the gun show. And he's shooting. Because he's missed 6 games due to injury. He came back week 17 in order to save the Broncos. And what more can you say? Payne is just trying to use up the last bit of gas he has in the tank in order to bring the Broncos their 3rd Super Bowl trophy. That's Inside 380, Super Bowl 50. We'll get more to that next week. And your boy, LA, is out.
You're now listening to A-Rod Music.
Traded to Arizona from Oakland in 2013. The record-setting year. He's picked again. Kuechly for the touchdown.
you that watch the show has heard me say that too many times, but it's the truth. I'm back. And we're back. See what I did there? With NBA basketball. NBA matchup, you have the Golden State Warriors and you have the San Antonio Spurs. Now, most people thought that this was going to be shootout. Most people thought that you would have, Stephen Curry at the end of the game. 5, 4, 3, 2, and thought it was going to be that type of game. But, to be frank, most of you out there that haven't watched the game, you should know by now it wasn't. What they did was they took San Antonio, put them over their knee, and spanked them like they stole something. It's been a recurring trend. The Warriors have lost their 4 games to a bunch of either playoff teams or teams that really shouldn't even be in the conversation, to say the least. But against the elite teams, the teams that will win a championship or either are competing with championship aspirations, they just punched in the mouth. They beat Cleveland last week by 34. They sent another statement to Chicago, beat them by 31. And then the Spurs, oh my bad, they beat them by 30. Yes, the Spurs, they beat them by 30. This was the biggest matchup in NBA history. With a minimum of 40 games played by both teams, they had a combined record of 78-10 going into the game. Astonishing. Now, Stephen Curry did his thing. He had 37 points in 28 minutes. He has the 4th highest scoring game versus the Spurs in the Popovich era and 4th highest mark considering that he did not play the 4th quarter. If he really wanted to and disrespect them, he could have went for 50, but there's no need for that. It's nothing but class and sportsmanship out in Oracle Arena and Golden State, the actual Golden State by the Bay. So what was the need for? Now, I knew the game was a wrap first quarter. By the end of the quarter, all they was doing, up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, the favorite 3 words in the Golden State Warriors vocabulary is up and down, because that's the type of ball they like to play. 3 guys that shoot 40% or more from the 3-point line. Their 3 best players, Clay, Steph, Draymond. All you saw was Steph, boom, boom, Shaq, Clay, boom, boom, Shaq. It was just a massacre. Now, with San Antonio, you have to think about the fact that they will have a chance of redemption. They have to go to San Antonio. So there's no avoiding anything. They have to go to San Antonio. And that's when we will see what San Antonio's mettle is, because they're undefeated at home too. Now, Tim Duncan also didn't play, but I don't think it should have made that big of a difference when you lost by 30 points. Also, in a statement by Greg Popovich to wrap this whole segment up, he said it was like men versus boys as far as aggressiveness. Now let's think about that. Men, Golden State Warriors, one of the youngest teams in the league, high flying, versus boys, the elder statesmen out by the Riverwalk in San Antonio. I think that explains it all. Right now, it looks like it's the Warriors' championship to lose. But if anyone thinks that the Warriors won't go back-to-back this year, they may be fooling themselves. That's Inside 380 with an historical NBA matchup. We will be back with the Australian Open.
Giannis in perfect position for the rebound. He goes in. Oh, for the jam. He went right at him. Giannis upon us.
Double dunk. I think that's Winslow and Whiteside. Whiteside, one of the better dunk blockers in the league at his length.
He flew by Dwayne Wade.
And then, use his body to kind of bump Wade out of position.
Hello. Now it's time to wrap Inside 380 up with none other than the Australian Open. You have Serena Williams and you have Rozanka. Now, Rozanka, she played well. She won her last match, and they will be facing each other in the semifinals. But Serena just beat none other than Maria Sharapova. She has a 19-2 record versus her. She beat her 18 straight times. Last time Sharapova's beaten her is in 2004. I don't even know why we dare keep calling this a rivalry. There's no other matchup that I can think in major professional sports where two highly skilled players have such a lopsided head-to-head margin. Can't even think of any others. It's ridiculous. Now, on the other end, in the men's bracket, you have Federer and Djokovic. Now, that is a rivalry. 22-22. Federer lost to Djokovic in 2 major finals last year, and Djokovic won 3 finals. His only final loss was to Stanislas Wawrinka in the Australian Open last year around this time. But, see, the thing is, in 7 finals matchups last year, he went 5-2 versus Federer. It took him a long time to catch up, but these guys both go at it. You have Djokovic, who is versatile. He has a tremendous serve. He's all over the court. He's gritty. He comes back from extreme deficits time and time again, and he's never out of the match at all. But when you think about it, the last time that Federer has beaten Djokovic in a 5-set match was the 2012 Wimbledon, which is the last Grand Slam he's won. And Federer's gone for 18 Grand Slam, which would be a record. And you have Djokovic, who has won a fair share of Grand Slams himself, and he is the #1 player in the world. And it's not even a close margin, to say the least. Now, Federer will now try to shorten the swing, try to keep the ball close to the net in order to shorten rallies, and then also he would try to get the match done as quick as possible, because with the younger 28-year-old Djokovic has the time on his side, to say the least. But that's more. Nothing else you can really say about that. Now, in my opinion, Serena will win, and then she will tie Steffi Graf's mark of majors, and then we won't even be having too much of a conversation. Serena Williams, like I said, is the greatest women's tennis player of all time, in my opinion. And the stats back it up, to say the least. But Rozanka will come at her. Rozanka is a very skilled player. She's #4 in the world. So it won't be easy. But Serena Williams, as always, great serve, hungry, battles from deficits constantly, and constantly always a fighter. So what more can you say? But it's going to be a show. The semifinals will finish up tomorrow, and then they will have the final in a few days, and then it's full steam ahead. So it should be a good one, to say the least. That is Inside 380. 380 Play of the Week is none other than, I'm going to be a spoiler, Von Miller from the Denver Broncos. Had to give it a defensive player. He's the reason why they won that game. Big time pick that gave them a good lead for the rest of the game when he got a pick on Brady. And it was actually the only bad matchup for Gronk during that game. He was the only guy that played Gronk well, even though he played him for only like 2 possessions, but he still did good. You will see the rest of the 385, and I'm your host, Mark L.A. Smith. Next week, Super Bowl 50. What more can I say? But L.A. out.
Looks like they're not doing it. Here is Goodwin with 3. Goodwin with 2. Puts it up. Good! Archie Goodwin with a 1/10 of a second with a clutch shot to give the Suns the...